The Bible treats a fetus as property and not as a person, although the view on when a fetus became a person differs from the Hebrew Bible, Greco-Roman period Judaism, and early Christianity. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. And there's only one passage in all the Bible that actually directly addresses this question, and it's not Jeremiah 1:5, it's not Psalm 139, it's not Luke 1. None of these are addressing the personhood of a fetus. They're addressing God's foreknowledge. They're addressing God's oversight of gestation. They're addressing exceptional circumstances where things don't go the way they normally do. The only passage that actually addresses the personhood of a fetus is Exodus 21, verses 22 through 25, which is legislation that imposes penalties should two men who are fighting accidentally injure a pregnant woman. And there are two outcomes that are described. The first outcome is that the injury causes the woman to miscarry, in which case the husband imposes a fine of his choosing, and there is arbitration there so that it does not become exorbitant. The other outcome is permanent injury or death to the woman, in which case talionic justice is activated and the penalty is life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. In other words, whatever happened to the woman, that is then done to the perpetrators. And what this indicates is that the woman was considered to be a legal and a moral person, and the fetus was not. The fetus was treated as property. And this perspective agrees with the view throughout the Hebrew Bible that breath was the necessary and sufficient feature of life. This agrees with early rabbinic discussion about when the fetus becomes a person. It's when either the head or the majority of the body, should the person be born in breech, leaves the birth canal. And this agrees with the mainstream of tradition with Judaism ever since then. But we see something different in Greco-Roman period Judaism, and this is most clearly found in the Septuagint translation of Exodus 21, verses 22 through 25, because there the two outcomes are not miscarriage and the woman's death. It is the death of the fetus if there is no body, and the death of the fetus if there is a body. And what this seems to refer to is the death of the fetus if it has not yet been fully formed, and the death of the fetus if it has been fully formed. And what this reflects is one of three different Greek philosophical perspectives on ensoulment, or when the soul enters the body. According to the Pythagoreans and the Epicureans, that happened at conception. According to Aristotle, that happened at the quickening, which is when the fetus is fully formed and now begins to move on its own. According to the Stoics, it happened at birth with contact with the outside air. And so the Septuagint translators seem to be adopting the Aristotelian perspective. Now, we don't see any discussion of this anywhere in the New Testament, but we know that early Christians were debating this as well. They didn't like abortion, but it became a much different and much more serious crime if the soul was present in the body. And so there were Christians who argued for the Pythagorean/Epicurean view. There were those that argued for the Aristotelian view and those who argued for the Stoic view. And around the 4th century, Christianity arrived at a consensus. And from the 4th century to the 19th century, the consensus view was the Aristotelian notion that the fetus became a person, the soul entered the body at the quickening. Now, why didn't Judaism take up the Greco-Roman period Jewish view? Because the commitment of Greco-Roman period Judaism to Greek philosophy was largely abandoned when Rabbinic Judaism was organized toward the end of the 1st century CE. So the mainstream of Jewish tradition held to the Hebrew Bible position, whereas Christianity held to the position that it had adopted from Greco-Roman period Judaism and had been informed by Greek philosophy.